The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Ledrup here.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr. Ocho, and of course, JP Jr.
As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. 7-8 lead does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob Francois. Rad Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am your host, Rad Rob Francois.
Love that chicken from Popeyes. I do.
We all love that chicken from Popeyes. Let's see who's in the house. We got Chuck Ritchie. What's going on, Chuck? Chuck's been bowling well of late. Still not good enough to be on this show, but that's fine. We got Nico Puhar. Rob, EJ hasn't gone anywhere. He's on every damn show. It's a fair point. But we're still going to get into that. Crambone. What's going on, Crambone? Alex Bermudez, good evening from behind the drill press in Modesto, California. Good evening, sir. Peekow's in the house. What's going on, Peekow? We got Frank from Japan. What's going on? Morning from Japan. It's been a while catching alive. Yeah, it's good to have you here. Konnichiwa. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Let's see. Come on, we got more people here. Everybody say hi. Come on, it doesn't hurt. Don't be shy. Everybody say hi. Look, we are firing on all cylinders lately. We are a well-oiled machine. We are running smoother than the Houthis running from a drone strike. Life is good. Oh, Nicole's here. Hold on.
Hi, I'm super excited to be able to wish Ocho a happy birthday today.
Happy birthday, Nicole. Ron Evans in the house. JPJ, love the show. Good. All right. Let's not ado any further. Oh, he's got his mask on. He's ready. People are watching the PBA show. That's true. That's true, Chuck. Of which EJ is going to lose again. 5 times. All right. Let's bring in my first co-host. Is he really a co-host? I mean, like, yeah, I know I say I'm the host, but I mean, we're all hosts in our own right, in our own way. PD's in the house. What's going on? Patrick Dombrowski, alumni from Straight Up 5. What's going on, brother? Non-exempts winning is wild. We have a lot to get into. So, all right, let me bring in the number 2 guy on the show. Well, he's really he's number 3. Well, let's be honest. There's so many things that I have said about this man over the last 6 to 8 years, but he's still, I mean, come on. He's the heartbeat of Straight Up 5. He does the software drops. I mean, he doesn't always do it correctly, like last week when he gave the wrong script to Belmo, but that's fine. But he still has the golden mask. He still has the largest. I'm working on it though. Hold on. This one. Look at the gut. I got a tricep. That's good. He is the resident doctor of Straight Up 5 and the Howl House hack, Dr. Ocho. Hey, wake up, Ouch. What's up, brother?
Oh my God! Well, what the hell, dude? That's just what you filibustered, and I don't know what you were saying. And
we don't have a guest, so I need to.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing, Rob. I would say that everybody thinks you're number 2, especially with how you do the intros. So I was trying to do this for so long that I cramped up. So let's get a little bit of biceparitis here and get on with our getting on.
I'm still jealous. You haven't been to the gym since COVID, and you still have bigger arms.
You have way more reasons to be jealous than that.
Well, I mean, that's just one of them. Let's bring in the man with the name of the marquee. Number 7 in your program. Number 1 in your hearts. The sexiest man.
What does that even mean?
What?
What does that even mean?
Have you ever seen the movie Fever Pitch?
Oh, Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Was it about Nomar?
Ish.
Nomar! Well, who's number 7?
That's Johnny's number, like 007 or 07, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Ask him why he likes 07.
Oh, it isn't?
It's his Twitter handle, his X handle. We've been over this.
We haven't.
Okay. Johnny Petraglia Jr., you look bored. What's going on, JP?
Oh, just enjoying the intro, man.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, for 18 minutes.
Really, really useful information there for the first 18 minutes. Don't mind my lighting. I felt like sitting in the living room tonight, and unfortunately, we haven't installed a lamp in here yet, so I have this little tiny one here. So I'm just going a little bit dark.
Do you really install lamps, or do you just plug them in and put them on a desk?
Do you really, really love the lamp? Or?
You love the lamp? I love desk. I love desk.
Are you just looking around the room and saying things that you love?
Basically, yeah. Well, and actually, simultaneously, I'm watching the bowling show on.
And I don't have playing bowling on right now. It's in the other room because I'm outside enjoying the fire, man.
So let's why don't we just basically dive right into what?
Where does Tom Smallwood put his thumb?
Goes into about the first joint on the thumb.
But is it in the thumb spot or is it like on the side of the ball? It looks like it kind of like.
No,
it looks like it's almost even with his.
He has a pretty inline grip, but he's a full roller, so the ball may look weird because the pin placement and mass bias placement, the ball is pretty much completely upside.
Oh, and him having his half knuckle in means he can actually tilt around it a little bit to stay under it. So yeah, that's why it looks.
He's one of very, very, very few two-handers, or excuse me, full rollers that can make the ball roll like a standard, 3/4.
Not so much here.
What's up, Frankie?
But it's right here.
Big Saxon house.
Right here. But yeah, he's been Tom Smallwood. Has been a great player since I was a kid. I remember watching him at the World Match Game tournaments run by Tommy and Tita Semez back in early 2000s, and I remember watching him and saying, "Man, that boy is good." And
he good. He can sing.
He's good.
I do.
Plus, I think his chin is hanging out with Rob's neck somewhere.
Yeah. I always thought Smalls like resembled what Mr. Potato Head would look like in real life.
That's or a lifetime a life Muppet.
Yeah, one or the other. But yeah, anyway, let's let's just jump right in here because I have my 10 cents on the title of tonight's show about, I guess, like what's up with EJ. First of all, anybody that's a bowler and anybody that's been successful at any level in bowling understands how streaky bowling is.
True.
And streaky can mean different things for different players. There's some baseball hitters who will go on runs where they'll hit 12, 15 bombs in 1 month and then not hit another bomb for the next 2 months, but strike out 60% of the time. There's streaky players like that. Then there's players like a Tony Gwynn where home runs were few and far between, but he hit the ball basically almost
anywhere he wanted and he would say when he's going to hit it. There's some fun stories about him.
The person to discuss, like to compare what's happening to EJ right now is a player of a similar caliber in Sean Rash. Sean Rash, if you guys remember, when he first came out on tour, he actually became the first player to make it through the TQR into the exempt field. And when Sean started his career, his first 4 TV shows, he won everything. He was undefeated on television. He won his first title in West Virginia. He won his second one at the Beltway Classic in Maryland. He won his third one in Medford, Oregon, and then he won his fourth one at the Masters in Miller Park. And then Sean hit a stint where he couldn't get out of his own way on television. You started seeing more of the balks, more of the missed spares.
Ocho doesn't wear any.
But like I can't remember which World Series it was, but Sean Resch, I think, made all 4 of the 5 shows out in South Point one year.
Did he miss a bunch of 10 pins on that show too?
Yeah, a lot of missed spares, a lot of
like single pin stuff. Yeah, freaking brain stuff.
And we watched him lose every single attempt. Meanwhile, we watched Belmo win 3 in one World Series, which was the most. I'm pretty sure it might still be the most. But like somebody said earlier, we're so used to seeing EJ win as of late that it's confusing to people when he doesn't. It was the same thing that happened to Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods went from winning every week, and now it's like when Tiger is not in the top 10, you're like, what the hell is going on? What happened to him?
And EJ's only throwing one errant shot that I don't even think he thinks it's errant. I think he is either equipment deficient at that one time, or the ball, maybe he made a move one board left or something, and the ball did something he didn't think it was gonna. I don't think it's lack of execution. It's just well, maybe that is lack of execution, I guess, but it's not. It wasn't a bad shot on his part, is what I think I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he's not going out there and bowling 160s and 150s.
And whiffing on everything, yes.
Right. Like earlier on in his career, you could visibly see that the EJ on TV was not the bowler that was bowling throughout the week in the tournament. Now, like if he's losing 220 to 210, it's like you just said, Oach, it's one shot that isn't 100% up to his standards. And it may not necessarily be a split. It may be, like you said, ball selection, maybe a quick lane transition. I mean, anybody that's been watching the World Series, all the guys are basically in the same zone on every show, and they're just varying speeds and changing ball surfaces. So you can only really manipulate the lane beds in one center so much. But the real thing is basically what is boiling down to here is EJ's television record is way better than a lot of Hall of Famers, even when he doesn't win when he's on television. I mean, Marshall Holman won 22 PBA titles. I'm pretty sure Marshall Holman made like 150 shows. Marshall would be the first one to admit that he was not good on television. He had a couple, and if he was good on television, Marshall Holman may have been the all-time title leader. That's how amazing Marshall was. Sure. But like Amleto said, it could be the smallest negative thing going on in your brain that makes you think a little bit differently, you know? I mean, I went from bowling 800 virtually every single week to I've been having a stint here for like the last month where I've become very streaky. I've had some sub 600 sets, and then I'll pop out a 780, and then I'll bowl a really, really good 660. When I was shooting 800 every week, everything was just flowing naturally. I wasn't grabbing at the bottom. I wasn't aiming. I was just flat out bowling. And I think right now what we're starting to see is EJ's been winning so often that it's like, maybe there's like one little demon he's got to boot out of the brain and remember who the hell he is, if there's anything to say about it. But that's kind of my take.
I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. The reason I chose the name for the podcast is because you're right. It is. We expect EJ to win, but I had seen a meme on Sleep the Rat group, which caught my eye this morning. Which I'm like, that's great.
That's fucking funny.
That's fucking hilarious. Like, so I borrowed that from their group.
But their picture is good too. Even the picture of him.
Yeah. No,
this somber, glum look on his face. Oh man.
Like, oh Jesus. So
we'll never get him to the show now. Thanks, Rob.
Whoever did that was that's fantastic. But no, I mean, do you think it's gonna get in his head? I mean, like, you never know what it could do to somebody if you're losing like 5-6 straight, TV shows when you're expected to win.
Honestly, no, I don't at this point. One of the biggest losing streaks in my recollection in PBA history was Parker Bone. Parker Bone hit a stint where I think he made like 12 or 13 shows in a row and averaged about 230 in those matches aggregately and lost every single one of them. Like it's not only necessarily and look, Parker's got 35, 36 titles. EJ, I don't even know how old EJ is, but at the latest is early 30s. And he's already got like 20 something, 25 titles. He's already got more titles than Marshall Holman.
And 6 majors, I think he's got, or maybe I'm making that up. Does
I
that sound
know
right?
I know he's got a bunch. I don't know if he's got all 6. I'm not 1,000% sure if he's got the Triple Crown. I know for a fact he's got 2 U.S. Opens.
Well, he might not have the Triple Crown. He just might have that many majors that he.
Well, I know he's got the World Championship and the U.S. Open. I'm pretty sure he won the TSC also. But he's on pace to beat Walter Ray in career titles. I mean, think about it. Walter Ray won his 47th title at age 48? And so, like, in 16 years, in the next 16 years, you don't think EJ is going to win another 20-something times if he keeps bowling the way he's bowling?
Oh, for sure. No, for sure.
He's going to be another one of the guys that you mention in the all-time greats when you bring up names like Anthony, Dick and Pete Weber, Roth. When you're bringing up names like that, you know, he's already in that conversation, you know?
And let's just think about this: out of all the games he bowled, he's made the TV finals for everyone. And then, again, maybe a bad ball selection, maybe the lane change. Like he's thrown one errant shot, which looks errant on television because he left a split. Maybe it wasn't errant because I remember him even going, "I can't believe it dove in like that." He's not even expecting it. Yeah. One shot per tournament. So I wouldn't exactly say the losing streak is the guy that didn't make television, I feel like.
Well, let's kind of dig into it here. He the first loss recently was the Mike Albee PBA Nevada Classic.
Oh, I didn't see that. I kept thinking you were spoiling the freaking show somehow.
No. I'm not going to spoil the show for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. Andrew Anderson, friend of the show, defeated him 237 to 181. So, okay. Let's just say he had a bad day.
Didn't he just throw freaking Andrew Anderson his cake just a couple weeks prior in the finals in the other tournament? Didn't he win a tournament just like a week or two before the little break there, I think. I think Anderson had the 1 seed and Tackett ran the ladder. He didn't run. I don't even know what run the ladder means.
Nico, our resident statistician, I need you to look that up.
Yeah, I think it was the tournament prior or 2 tournaments prior, but EJ definitely beat Anderson in the maybe it wasn't. No, it was the finals because Anderson was the number 1 seed.
I think that you're confusing that. I know for a fact that EJ beat Andrew Anderson, and I believe the opening match of at a World Series event. That was the show that he ran the ladder till the title match and loses to Darren Ong.
No, this was maybe 3 weeks ago, a month ago. Is that?
Oh,
possible?
You're going. Yeah, yeah, shit. I can't remember.
I was just going by. It was just a matter of them matching up again. So yeah, Anderson beat him, but still he smoked Anderson and beat him pretty handedly.
Yeah,
before his supposed losing streak started.
The thing that I'm noticing and this is always a trend at seemingly every single World Series, especially in the pattern era. When you hold this many events in one venue,
thank you, Nico.
First off, the qualifying and the route to the telecast is always going to yield bowlers you've never seen or heard of before.
Good job.
Well, first of all, they're coming from everywhere to good job, Chuck. I forgot about that. Not only are they coming from other countries, so we don't actually know them per se unless we've traveled abroad and bowled against them, but like you see guys like Ethan Fiore, you see guys like Rasmus Edvall, you see guys that are typically not going to make it that far in most PBA events just based off statistics. But then the other thing that you see is the same players being successful on every single pattern and the same players struggling on every single pattern. Like I'm watching Tim Foy, and I know that Tim Foy's on the World Championship show. Like obviously Tim had a great World Series. Tim's been having a great year, but there's other players. It's when you have this many events with that short a span of time between putting out the different oil patterns, eventually what's going to happen is some bowlers are just going to find it. And it's one thing I really don't like about the World Series. I don't like the shorter formats. I don't like that they cramp everything in. And I really don't like the idea that it's all taking place in one building. Because if you're struggling on the first day, the mental impact it has on you for the rest of that tournament, if your ball does not go through the pins the right way in that building,
true,
your ball does not carry in a building, That is way more mentally treacherous than anything physical that could ever happen to you.
Well, yeah, and then you got to go outside.
Yeah, and then the worst part about it for them this year is they are in the literal armpit of America, in the biggest piece of shit little city in the world, in Reno.
Yep.
Like, there is nothing to do in Reno except avoid violence, gamble, and hope that a random restaurant is open where you're not going to get shot.
Right.
That's
well,
literally
PD.
Ocho's 3 commandments.
PD says 23 days in Reno. He's drained.
God bless you, man. I have no idea how you guys do it. I go out to Reno.
Circus, man. That's all.
I keep my trip as short as humanly possible. Just get me out of there, man. Now
go to the noodle bar every once in a while.
That's fine.
Go down to the noodle bar in the place next to Reno, and they got the they actually serve you fun noodles, and they might even be connected to the mob in there somewhere. You'll have fun.
Johnny, where else could you host a month-long event and still have some kind of entertainment or something to do outside of a bowling center?
Well, let's put it to you this way, Rob. They build a stadium in places like Syracuse, New York, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and host a 6-month-long tournament that houses 75,000 teams. The USBC does that.
Yeah.
And if they really gave any shits about the PBA whatsoever, I'm sure they could figure out any place to put lanes like that.
True. That's a good point.
Not Reno.
The other place.
Here we go.
That's why Vegas's South Point Plaza was built. It was built to not have to ruin the steady. First of all, in the bottom of the barrel place in any Las Vegas casino is the bowling center. They don't give the bowling alleys do not make them money in Vegas compared to the slot machines and the bars. It does not happen.
Sure.
So the fact that South Point was the first place to say, you know what, we're actually going to cater to the league bowlers. We're going to build this entire separate facility so we don't screw with the actual paying customers, league bowlers, open bowlers for 30 some odd days while we conduct this event. I would have to really, I understand what you're saying. Whereas like even a place like Bolero, North Brunswick that has 82 lanes or has the capacity, they wouldn't want to tell the league bowlers, hey, for the month of, March, you guys are off for 4 straight weeks because the pros are coming here.
Right. Not only that, but I mean, you need something to do outside of the venue. And like, Syracuse is great, but I mean, what's there to do in upstate New York? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess that's basically true of any city.
You might have you got families coming too, like, and families coming to watch too. You got people coming to watch them too. So you're going to have to do something if you're there for a couple weeks or 3 weeks or a month. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing, Rob. In Vegas and Reno especially. In Reno, there really are only a few things you can do. You can eat food, you can gamble, you can drink alcohol, you can sing karaoke, you could see a really, really crappy comedy show, and that's really all you can do in Reno.
That's it. Okay.
If
I've never been there.
If you want to drive 45 minutes to Lake Tahoe, you can, and spend a couple dollars. You can go skiing and you can have beautiful scenery, but I don't want to fucking stare at half snow-covered mountains for 30 straight days either.
Right.
And they know that the only other thing I can go do is something that's going to cost me a shit ton more money than if I were in a place like Syracuse, where I was like, okay, let's travel to the best place for buffalo wings. It can't be too far from Syracuse. Like, there's never really a lot to do in any city that you're in. Maybe that's one thing that Reno does offer. You could go watch a baseball game, a AAA baseball game. You could go see, but you have to be there during season time. Like, I guess in general, what I'm trying to say is I agree with you that it's got to be hard to host it in other places that don't have centers specifically designed for this kind of duration of a tournament.
Yeah,
it is definitely difficult, but it sucks that the only places people can go are two places that you're going to lose your money no matter what.
True.
The average person that walks into a casino, and again, this is 12 years of living in Vegas, 20 some odd years of being a gambling addict. So I got all my shit straight when I say this. The average person on any day that walks into a casino loses $56 the second they walk in the door.
Right.
The average person. So over a span of 30 days, if I have to walk from the Silver Legacy, which is literally across the street from the National Stadium, when I leave the Silver Legacy and then I come back after my night of bowling, it's an extra 50, let's just call it $50 minimum a day for 30 days.
Yep.
That's $1,500 extra dollars. Not to mention, hopefully I got a prorated room for being there for 30 days. And now I got to not only feed myself once, twice, but 3 times a day minimum. If I want a couple nights of entertainment to go out for drinks, like it is, you need a shit ton of money to be in, or a shit ton of discipline to be in cities like that or Las Vegas and not lose your head while trying to do your job.
For sure. No, you're right. Now let me
have your Netflix account downloaded because you'll be in the room watching Cobra Kai 45 times.
To tell you exactly, and to tell you, Robbie, before you ask me that question,
yeah,
that is one of the most impressive things to me about the guys on tour. That is the most impressive thing to me about guys like Belmo or Parker or EJ or Simo.
Nowadays, yeah.
They have all figured out a way to migrate through all the other shit other than bowling. That's the stuff. And like our friend Frank here says, unfortunately, bowling, drinking, and gambling have always kind of gone hand in hand. This newer generation is not so much. They're a lot more into health, fitness. They stay away from booze, most of them, which thank God most of them learned from the previous guys. But
I do.
Yeah, exactly. So what were you going to ask me, Rob? Good.
I don't know what the cost would be, but I mean, obviously in the past, at least for TV shows, they've had 2 constructed lanes at a convention center or a civic center. Given if you limit the amount of entries, could they put lanes in, say, Nashville Convention Center where there's a shit ton of things to do? Is it not cost effective if they were to make their own house, for a month?
I don't think it would be cost effective simply because, well, here's a couple different reasons to answer that. Number one, if you build a venue like that, where's your revenue? There is no revenue.
Charge tickets for the fans to come in and watch during the week.
And here's the other problem.
That's what they used to do.
Yeah, but they don't charge for tickets anymore.
Yeah.
And people are not used to paying to go watch PBA events now.
Wow, I didn't know that.
At least to my knowledge. If they're still trying to charge you for TV show tickets, I don't know. I haven't been out there in quite some time.
I used to get so jacked up that I'd get in for free by Gary Shea.
Yeah,
so now that's all for naught now. Damn it.
I used to love walking upstairs, and Jean Bone, Parker's mom, would be working the front door, and she would stand up, come out from behind her table, give me a hug, and I would get my family pass. I felt like it's such a hot shot back then because I knew it. And back then, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people would come through the turnstiles, especially at Carolier. It was it was the place to be in the early 90s to early 2000s. But I think I don't think it would be cost efficient for them to build the amount of money it would cost to build the venue and the amount of purse that has to be put up and the lack of sponsorship. It's not like the USBC tournament where every single player that's there is buying photographs. They have the mom and pop setup shops that have to pay certain X amount of dollars for the space. They have to pay certain commissions for the products they sell. The ball companies that are there that are charging every single person that walks in $80 to drill a new ball. Of like that, the food, the drinks, the barmaid that's selling you the $16 fucking Topo Chico fucking mixed beer shit, whatever the hell it is. $16 for a Coors Light tall boy. Are you out of your mind?
Right.
But that's at least that, and then that's all. It's the same as paying for a $7 hot dog at Yankee Stadium.
Well, the only thing I could say to that is, like obviously not as big as the Super Bowl, but I mean, we can kind of use maybe wrestling as an example. When SummerSlam came to Nashville, the city paid them to go to Nissan Stadium because they knew how many people it would bring into the city, and they would generate revenue from all the people going around to the bars and the stores and the shops and the restaurants and all that. If a city were to host the World Series and they know they're going to be there for a month, and let's just say Tom Clark or Bolero could say, all right, we're going to bring this many people into the city. Can you subsidize us? That could be something they could work on if bowling was popular enough.
That was the gist in Reno. That was the whole idea of Reno. Was bringing in those 70,000 teams every single year to bring productivity to the city of Reno. The National Bowling Stadium used to be heavily, heavily, heavily tied in with Circus, Eldorado, Silver Legacy. I mean, go back to like the movie Kingpin. Everybody laughs about it, but when the guy's talking at the beginning of the tournament about the whopping 22 topping potato bar and all that shit like that, that's literally the way it was in Reno. That was the connection they had. You would get comps, you would get booklets of just coupons and discounted items for your entire stay there. And the amount of people that would be in Reno to bowl would make those casinos a lot of extra money. So of course it was a great idea to build a bowling stadium where you're going to have 75,000 extra teams of 5 coming in over the course of half of your year out there.
Right.
It was a brilliant idea. Unfortunately, Reno is, first off, insanely expensive to get to. I don't know if guys have ever searched tickets for Reno. I'm sure everybody here has bowled there at least once. Flying to Reno is a bitch. I mean, I used to drive from Vegas to Reno because it was only about a 7.5-hour drive. So I had no problem. But I think about like Stephanie flying from Philadelphia or Scranton even. It's $700, $800 every single time you want to fly to Reno.
Right.
Every single time.
And there's no direct flights either half the times. Like, you just can't get there.
Any direct flights. So not only is there no direct flights and it costs you an arm and a leg, now most people are going out there with 2 triple bags and a suitcase. So if you're going on any airline, it's basically, your first bag's going to be around 50 pounds. We'll let you slide. Okay, but your second bag is $35. Your third bag is $60. Like and then you got to do it on the way back also. Then you got to save up bracket money. And all for what? To go to Reno.
Right. Yeah.
To go to Reno, dude. God.
That's why I wish there was a way to go to a destination city like a Nashville or Atlanta well, maybe not Atlanta, but you know what I mean. And maybe one day the sport will be popular again where they could do that. But I mean, you're right. There's only so many places that could handle that kind of volume and be able to stay there for a month. And it's unfortunate, but let's get back on to recent events here. We got some new winners, which is kind of cool, right? It's the World Series. This is literally what vision Tom Clark had, and he even mentioned it was on the show. He wanted, since they're getting snubbed by the Olympics, well, he wanted the World Series of Bowling to be the pinnacle event for people to come from all over the world and bowl in one tournament. And we saw that in the Scorpion when we had 2 bowlers from across the world in the title match, Rasmus Edval and Rafiq Ismail from Sweden and Malaysia. And Rasmus won his first PBA title. That's what it's all about, Johnny.
Oh, sure. And again, I go both ways here. I've never won a PBA title, and if and when I ever do, I don't really care how I win it. I will still call myself a champion.
Sure.
But the other side of me, the historian side, and the hours and time that I've watched the sports elite put in throughout the course of 42 games a week in a tour of 18 cities nonstop with no breaks, I don't like the idea that somebody could step on a pair of lanes or into a building and bowl 12 games and have the nuts for 12 games and get by a couple matches and make television. I don't like, first of all, 12 games is not enough games to measure who the best bowler of the week is. It measures who has the best look for 2 days. That's 100% honesty. That's how I feel. If you feel differently, you can throw your comments in there before the title match starts here.
Well, I mean, that's the problem of trying to get 5 titles in 4 weeks.
Yeah, and
between the 4 patterns and the World Championship, I mean, that's what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, have more squads, have 3 squads during a day. Like, it's. I get what you're saying.
You need to hold down the fort a second. I got to grab a charger. My MacBook is about to die. Hang on.
That's fair. Would you agree with that, Ouch? Like, Johnny, what Johnny's saying is right. I mean, anybody.
I did miss the last part. I had to run in real quick because Gabriella was going.
Anybody can go on a streak and bowl 12 games and make TV, but when they're trying to squeak in 5 titles during the 4 weeks,
it dilutes it a bit. Well, again, you're. I still feel like the cream rises to the top, though.
True.
But but you might not be getting a true test because again, you're diluting it a tad,
right?
By not having the full qualifiers and all that. And I mean, although, do we really see somebody that isn't worthy of it? Like, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, we
I have
have
a fire on the deck. Hang on.
we have 2 brand new champions that came from across the world. So I mean,
Who haven't bowled over here though, right?
have-
Like, wasn't that the thing?
I'm not familiar with who they are. Darren Ong is actually, I think he bowls over here a lot, but I've never heard of Tun Amirul Al Hakim from Malaysia, who beat Kevin McCune for the Chameleon. Sorry, I probably butchered your name there, brother. But
So honestly, the way they painted it on television is that because they don't bowl here too often, that's why we don't know of them.
And that's the thing is it's also the new breed of guys. These are the young guys. Like, it's not like when I was in my 20s and guys like Belmo and Osku would come from overseas that everybody already knew. Guys like Mika Koivunyemi, they knew him from the Hoinky and the High Rollers.
Right.
You knew all the international stars in your age bracket. So guys like Darren Ong, they may be guys that are the pinnacle of overseas that are coming over here now. But like, we've seen international players have success at the World Series since its inception.
Right.
We saw guys like Kimmo Lehtinen from Finland make TV and win. We saw guys like, a couple of the guys from Chinese Taipei that made the show. We saw Fawaz Abdallah of Bahrain make a show. But these are all, again, in the short format tournaments. These are not lengthy Chris Barnes, Parker Bone, Pete Weber, Walter Ray type tournaments. These are short sprints.
Sure. Right.
And then
maybe that's the good flavor to do, because if they're all long, I don't know. That's you know what? I'd have to debate that one, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm talking myself out of it already, honestly.
No, but like I'm with you, Oach. And again, it's tricky because for those exact reasons, it's tricky me. There is no comparison between a short format player and a long format player. Compare it to poker. There's guys who play nothing but cash games.
Sure.
Nothing. They'll play nothing but cash games because they buy in for a certain amount. The blinds are a certain amount. The ante is a certain amount. You could literally sit there for 8 hours and only bet premium hands. Even if you're only making $80, $90, $100 an hour, if you sit there for 8 hours, you're making $800 a day, right?
Right.
And then there's players who never play cash games and they only play in tournaments. They play in all-in tournaments, Hold'em, 7 stud, 5 stud. They are terrific tournament players. It's very, very, very rare to find players that are good tournament players at a poker table and good cash game players.
Yep.
And the only ones anybody really knows about are the guys that are like Phil Hellmuth, Daniel Negreanu, Doyle Brunson, Phil Ivey, just to name a couple, Johnny Chan. And the reason you know who those players are is because of how good they are in both atmospheres. EJ and Belmo are prime examples of that. They're good at short stints and they're good in long format tournaments. They're good
on every pattern too.
They're good on every single pattern. And that's the guys that are there every single week. And the more games you bowl, those are going to be the guys you see at the end of the week.
But this also goes to what I always said, and we even talked about it. In a golf tournament, if you have a 12-stroke lead going into the final round, you have a 12-stroke lead. You don't reset it and play one-hole matches.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what bowling. On a
you're
small
right.
scale,
You're right.
It kind of, but it's still riveting television. You can't have a guy with a 300-pin lead bowling, a round robin and say, "Here's the guys." You know what I mean? It's not. No one would watch that. So I understand why they did it, but it's a nasty reset in motocross. If you could have a 12-second lead with 3 laps to go. A 12-second lead is pretty much insurmountable, unless you're Ocho. And if there's a wreck where like the medics have to come out, they have to do a restart. They don't reset you at the line. They do a staggered restart, not 12-second restart. So whoever's ahead by 12 seconds now has a half a tire bike length at the start. So they all line up right next to each other, single file, and they pin it as soon as so it's a little sour grapes. That's also different because it's an anomaly. But again, it's still, should that be right? Shouldn't the guy get his 12-second lead back?
This is a conversation that we could literally go back and forth.
There's no right answer or wrong answer.
With whoever agrees or disagrees on either side, and both sides will have 100% valid points the entire discussion.
And there's no way to correct it.
No, there's really not. So in other words, it's like if I was a newcomer on tour, I'll give you a prime example at the amateur level. One of the best bowlers out here in short format tournaments is Quentin Collins. Every time I go bowl a tournament that it's 3 games of qualifying, I'm already basically, I don't want to say dead, but I'm at a disadvantage because I am typically a guy that keeps it close the first game. Like I'm trying harder almost to bowl 9-pin no tap and at least bowl 2
You want to get your feet wet first,
rather than
and
like
then
possibly bowling 140 and then being dead and like
you don't want to lose it in the first game.
Right.
You want to stay there and be in play.
And there's other people that go out game 1 and like 9 times out of 10 they have a 10 bagger. And it's like automatically I'm like, shit, I bowled a really, really good 220 and I'm 60 pins behind the leader and now I only got 2 games left. I don't like that. I would rather go and bowl 210, 215, 20, 20 and know that I have 4 more games in the block so I could bowl 250, 260, 250, 260. And then once my feet are wet, okay, now how do I turn those 210s into 230s in the early going and the 250s into 270s at the tail end or vice versa, whatever the lane's given me. I prefer that. I prefer longer length tournaments for that exact reason because that's the kind of player I am. That's why I was never good in high rollers. I was never good at the hoinky. I was never good at the true amateur tournament. I was never really a good eliminator player.
The problem for TV is that even if they did a best 2 out of 3 now, does the viewer hang on for that? Because it's a lot. Because they now it's commercials. Now it's they make a 1 game match about 30 something minutes. Or maybe 25 minutes. So it's it's if they have to have commercials or else there's no money. So they lose there, but that also at least makes it, I don't know. You'll have to almost change the cult. First of all, you can't change the culture of a Stepladder Finals, which not that you should anyway, because it is great theater. It's just
here's what
Marshall Homan again. I bet you Marshall Homan would say, "Man, if we did 2 out of 3, I'd be loving life."
Good to see you, buddy. I hope everything is good.
Like, wasn't you were mentioning him before, right?
Well, to feed off you what you just said, Ocho, here's the other huge problem. This was like Dad actually brought this up to me when I was younger, and I never forgot it. When you turn on golf, you get to watch golf on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I've been saying that for years. Yes.
Okay, for approximately 4 hours a day minimum, you get to watch. And somebody like Tiger Woods now, for those 4 hours on each day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he's on that camera for at least 3 of them. Or at least 2.5 solid. You get at least 8 to 9 hours.
Even if he's in the morning freaking round, they're going to do every shot he took.
And nowadays, it's more so like when you see Rory or Scheffler, right? Now, I want you to imagine it like, let's take Scotty Scheffler last year at the Players or whatever tournament he astronomically won by like 8 or 9 strokes. And he leads the tournament after 4 rounds. And then they take the top 5 on day 5 on a Monday, and 5 plays the 4 seed on 1 hole. And
that's what I was saying.
Right. It's you would never see it in golf because there's enough airtime. In bowling, if you're the number 5 seed and you lose the match, you have approximately 18 minutes of airtime. Nobody has any clue what you did on how to get there or anything like that. So they had to implement this simply because we don't have the time slot or the revenue
I get it.
or the sponsorships to display what they're doing for 4 straight days.
It's the best way they could. It's just
not unfortunate
the best way they could. No, I don't want to. It's not the best way. It's just not.
It's the best way they could, and it's unfortunately unfair to certain players each week.
Yes. Like, I got to know. I almost feel like I kept trying. I had this in the back of my head 10 guests ago to ask them, what seed would you prefer? The number 1, I feel like 1, 2, or 3 are probably the most advantageous. But I don't know how 1 is.
I've always thought about this too. Obviously anybody subconsciously craves to be the tournament leader because you got 1 game to win the top.
Well, in a wrestling tournament, it's great because you got fishes half the way, and then you got to freaking then finally wrestle.
But anybody that's also ever bowled, your first few frames of your first game, whether it's a tournament, league, a TV show, your legs are a little bit jittery. And I'm not saying that like jittery to a point that you feel like, oh my God, I'm not even going to be able to get the ball off my hand. I'm so nervous like at league. But you certainly get your legs a little bit more under you when you see your ball react the way you expect it to. And when I think about it, I'm like, man, I would actually probably like to qualify second, because if I make it past the semifinal match, I'm not only going into the title match with all the momentum and all the confidence, the tournament leader is bowling on a pattern that's completely been shredded by the 4 other guys that are bowling on it.
And how many throws does he get also? That's the other thing I don't really know.
How
many throws does he get? Like 5 or 6 maybe? Or like
I believe they get an hour prior.
No, on the lanes that they bowl.
I'm not sure now how many shots they get prior to their match.
Because they get them in between games, I think, too, sometimes maybe, or
but the only the next guy coming in can practice on the pair. Like
God, right, and again, it's probably different from what it's going to be
exactly
that game prior to.
I'm going to have to eat my words after this.
And obviously, I'm going to say, if there's less people in the chat right now, for anybody that is watching bowling, and if you're not, turn on FS1, because it's a pretty exciting first 6 frames.
God damn it.
I feel bad for Smalls because EJ messengers 2 10s and Smalls buries it and leaves a fucking stone cold 10. And,
I thought we don't say fuck anymore, Rob.
well, this called for it because I feel bad.
Well, what do you do? He left the stone.
That's 3 messengers. What the fuck? I wish I had 580 revs to fucking carry every 10 pin.
Why are you so fucking EJ hating? It's got to be about EJ, obviously.
No, he's actually not.
I don't dislike him personally. No, I don't dislike him.
For those of you that are in front of a television, turn on FS1. We may actually be here for a little small part of history.
This could be when, like, the Ultimate Fighter, like, literally got all its ratings when Bonner and friggin' Forrest Griffin fought in that the Tough One final.
Oh my God,
dude! And I have the TV on.
Georgie,
now obviously JP knows my house. I got. Oh my God,
Georgie, it's like see you tomorrow.
What's going on, Troy? Oh, this game's over.
Johnny knows my crib pretty well, and where he sometimes likes to.
Can I change the title of the stream?
That's where my TV is, and I'm outside by the chimney enjoying the nature and thinking we're gonna do an outdoorsy show about survival. That's my own fault. I thought we were talking about the Big Ten tournament. When Rob said tournament talk, I thought we were talking about the wrestling finals of the Big Ten.
No.
Well, shit, that was last Saturday, man. How did nobody see that?
Okay, I changed the title of the stream to World Series 2025.
Good idea.
That's good.
And like
Abel Stevenson made Greg Kerfleet look like an amateur. He beat him 12-3 or 10-3. My God.
What's up, Troy Lynn?
This just goes to show you exactly what we were talking about on the top of the show. This is not EJ like the old. This is not the young EJ. This is like pissed off EJ. Like he expected to win every single event that he made the show on, and now he's just flat out pissed. So he's taking care of it differently than he used to now.
They did this thing. I think it was last night. Who's the most intimidating bowler? And like hands down, it was EJ. Belmo said, I think it was me for a while, but now it's EJ. And everybody said EJ. And EJ, Pressler was like, would you believe they said you? And he's like, I'd be surprised. Like, I don't know. Like,
I
she's
do.
like, well, they just don't want to bowl you. And he's like, well, I guess that's good. I guess that's a good thing.
Oh, well, there goes that.
Shit. Well, are we so we're not spoiling it? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck at this point.
No,
EJ,
but I mean, I don't care if you spoil it for me. I just don't know if you don't want to spoil it for. I still got my Kim Carnes voice gone. So if anybody wants to hear Betty Davis eyes, you just let me know and I will crank that shit out.
EJ sprayed it left to 7 pins, so there goes the 300. But he's going to win the tournament. So
just what it takes to make it closer.
Congratulations to EJ Tackett for being the WSOB Shark champion because it's over.
So there you go.
So we got the World Championship next week, so he still has a chance to win 2 in a row. Oh, bye, Johnny. Love you. See you later, buddy.
She's gone. Betty Davis.
You couldn't take your fucking if you call that singing, you're screeching. So
dude, I crushed it.
No, you did pretty well, actually.
I literally crushed it. There's only one time a year you can sing Kim Carnes. It's when you got a sore throat.
That's
when I was in college.
That's fair.
So when I was in grad school, I used to always scream at the television or at the bar, like about the Steeler games. And I'd come in with a raspy voice. And my friend would say, you have the full dooch going. The Danny Bonaducci always had that.
Danny Bonaducci.
So
Wow.
he's like, oh man, you were at the bar yesterday, huh? I was like, yeah, Steelers lost. He's like, you got full douche going.
Douche. That's good stuff. All right. Well, we got let's see, we got 9 minutes left. Ocho, how you doing in league there at Howlands?
I'm not good.
Well, we know
good.
that, but I mean,
I'm not bad. No, I'm lined up. I'm just not good. I'm catching. I'm EJ. I'm hitting a split. I'm strike split, 3 strikes split, 3 strikes split. Does that even count? I don't even know how many that is. Yeah, I shot like a 560 something this week. But all right, so in the 10th frame, I went 9 spare and we were down by 9.
Yeah.
First of all, fuck him. We were down by 9.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, I needed to bury one to win, and I did. And it's because I don't know how to keep score, it kind of fucks me up. I wish I did know how to. I know how to.
Are you serious?
Now,
Like,
and I
after
knew I
all
needed
these
a strike
years,
there.
you have to know.
No, I don't. Once if you have like 3 in a row, I get lost. I don't. But in the 10th frame, I know. If I see what the fill ball in the 9th is, then I definitely know. You get 30 total.
Right, 3 in a row is 30, but yeah, you keep a running total every strike.
Anyway, no, that was the only good thing about it. But I was lined up, and I threw it good. It was awful. It's just so bad. But this is right about when I start getting usually
back.
just before daylight savings. I start popping off 7s. I've only got 3 7s this whole year.
No 6s,
so
right?
I'm a struggling mo. My average is I think 11. 8 pins lower than last year. Right now,
are you guys getting any?
And they only do a 10-pin drop off.
Are you guys getting any snow up there this weekend? I heard there's a storm coming, a brewing.
No, it's been fucking beautiful here. You kidding me?
Better not be any fucking snow.
I see your breath,
dude. I got my pruner out. I was cutting branches down the last few days, man. That's what I'm burning right now.
Is that your breath, or is that the smoke from the fire?
No, that's me.
That's the smoke from the fire. It's only about 45, 46 degrees here right now, but
that's shorts weather.
But it's been nice here. I don't think we're gonna have any more snow. If we do, at least it's probably gonna be the last ditch effort before the nice weather finally gets back.
I think it was hitting the Midwest, but I wasn't sure which direction it was going in. But it's supposed to be a winter storm in March in the Midwest, and they're not happy about it.
That wasn't uncommon here. It's just the last couple of years it's been unusually warm in March.
Yeah,
I think for quarantine lady's birthday, which is Friday. Send all your gifts to my PayPal.
I'm just going to throw this up here with no audio real quick just so we can see the end of the tournament here. Courtesy of YouTube TV-ish.
Oh, man, good for Smallwood. Wasn't he the 5th seed or the 4th seed? Either way,
he was seeded.
Is that called running the ladder?
I don't remember.
Smalls definitely had a nice tournament, that's for sure. I know he beat Tim Foy in the I want to say in match 2, he beat Tim Foy, or no. I don't even know. I didn't.
So,
that's right. He beat Tim Foy and Packy Hanrahan in the semifinal. I'm not sure if he was in the first match, but if he was, shit.
By the way, how good was Packy on commentary last night?
Really good.
Yeah,
really good.
I heard the voice and I said, boy, it sounds familiar, but my God, he was so articulate. He was shit talk. He talked so clear, like almost unintentionally dumbing it down a little bit too, because he would explain what he would do and what they would do. And I said, my God, I think I just from the house bowling, I think is what it is.
Packy,
yeah, that's my I just saw the smoke. That's me.
Well, Packy comes from a really, really good pedigree too. He's
true.
He comes from a very well known rich area in Greenwich, Connecticut. So he had a good.
Well, his dad was also the goalie in Slapshot
in Greenwich, Connecticut.
When Reggie Dunlop told him his wife was a lesbian. Remember Hanrahan and fucking attacked him?
And also I
remember that.
He grew up with guys like Chris Forey at Buddy's Pro Shop in the Norwich, Connecticut area, and he always was very partial to the older players too. And I know for a fact that he listened to Bo Burton commentate a lot, and a lot of the guys that speak like Packy have the way of explaining things that Bo Burton did.
The acumen. But that's funny though, because on his channel he's almost stop and go, because I don't know, a YouTube show. He's not.
I think he's gotten some polish from the YouTube show the last.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But I mean, dude, he was astoundingly good. Like, I used to want to be a broadcaster when I was young, and I knew I had every Kurt Gowdy freaking video and Warner Wolf and freaking Chris Schenkel, especially the voice of God, my stars. And I was so enamored with broadcasting that I realized there's no money unless you're one of the top dogs. I said, fuck it.
True. No, that's fair.
Anyway, but the guy that's his next step.
No, he's good.
He's got it.
He's really. I mean, us native Connecticutonians are pretty good at broadcasting.
Yeah, so you guys he should have been playing tennis, is what you're saying. Like, you should have been out there going, "Oh, mommy, why don't we have this little match here while this guy gets caca off his mouth?"
Connecticutites.
There you go. I like that.
San Diegans.
San Diego wins.
Keep it classy. Oh, he's from
San Diego.
Wales vagina.
Fairfield. Oh, okay. Fairfield.
Oh yeah, Fairfield, not Norwich. I think Norwich
it's a small state.
I'm probably thinking about Frank Pepe Pizzeria. I think that's closer to Norwich.
Well, that makes sense.
Norwich-ish.
Or was it rated on the One Bite app?
Yeah. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it right now. Fuck New Haven style pizza. I don't care about Portnoy. It's his favorite. Pizza.
New Haven. That's it. That's where it is, right?
Yeah. Portnoy is an idiot. Even though he's from Boston, I love Barstool, but fuck him.
Not gonna lie.
Nobody wants burnt pizza, bro.
I have never, ever had pizza better than the original Frank Pepe in Connecticut.
I lived there for my whole life,
and I'm a New Yorker / New Jerseyan. And that's
so. Rob, you're mad at the guy because he doesn't like the fly. I don't like the crisp either. I get it. I like just a pizza where everything is all one. I don't need a crispy pizza. I don't think that's good. But is that what you're mad at him for?
That's what I'm mad at him for. Yeah, the fucking coal-fired burnt pizza. Like, it's fucking burnt.
Yeah, that's his deal. He always looks under it and goes, "Oh yeah, you hear that crisp?" I'm not a crisp.
Yeah, but you know what?
I like New York pizza. That's me.
To me, pizza is either good or great.
You know what's funny? You say that. I've had bad pizza recently.
Really?
And I was like,
there is a such thing.
This is terrible.
There's DiGiorno style.
In our
I like DiGiorno.
I've made a Red Baron that was better than this.
You don't like Domino's, really?
I like Domino's. I like Red Baron French bread pizza.
Domino's.
I like.
Red Baron I think is great. That's what I'm saying. I had a Red Baron that was better than what this one pizza joint was.
Wawa pizza sucks, but their turkey bowls are fantastic.
Red Baron is better than a lot of pizza. Red Baron is.
I totally agree.
It's true.
Pizza.
It is true.
I totally agree. But I also halfway through, I put my own little mozzarella on it there. I get it ready.
My dad would put American cheese on top of his Red Baron.
Well, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's just fucking stupid. Edit that out.
No. Look, if you've ever had a true Philly cheesesteak slice with yellow American and steak thrown on the mozzarella, it's
not pizza.
No, it's true.
Still fantastic.
It's true.
The Domino's back in the 80s, for people who know, had the most unique taste. It was wonderful. It was
Ghost Hunters is from Rhode Island,
good.
Dan.
It was so good, and then they tried to replicate. We'd still get it every once in a while when we're smacked up at 1 a.m.
You know what really sucks now is Pizza Hut. Not the same Pizza Hut that we grew up with.
Same thing, man. In the 80s, Pizza Hut was the shit.
It was. It's horrible.
Man, I got to stoke the fire.
Absolutely horrible. Anyways, somebody asked me how my health journey was. Alex, going well. I'm actually, I fluctuate. I'm in a holding pattern weight-wise.
Nowhere closer to finding his neck, though.
No, still can't find my neck, but I am down a shirt size. I'm into 4X now from 5X, so that's a win. That's an absolute win. And
you were a 5X?
I was, yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I'm tall. I'm lank. It's the big and tall shit. Like I'm so tall. I got to get shirts that are long enough to cover the fucking belly.
No, because that's funny. Because I got to get sometimes an XL or 2X, and it looks like a dress on me because it's all big in the wrong areas, and it should be.
I have to go to big and tall stores and get that shit. But anyway, no, it's going well. I went to the gym today. Got a fantastic pump on. I'm getting stronger every time.
You went to Gymboree today and did the parachute thing, where they all go under it. And
I'm getting nuts. I
went down the slide twice.
Shut the fuck up, Poach. I'm trying to talk. No, I'm getting.
You said I went to gym today.
I'm. All right, that's fair. I'm getting stronger every time I go in, so that's good. It's good.
He finally opened the door.
I'm able to pump longer. I'm able to hit heavier weights every time I go. So
Reach down
Good.
to the bottom shelf in the fridge.
Yep.
That's right.
That's right.
That's where the carbo drinks are.
I can tie my shoes now without having to sit down. No, it's good. And between that and DDP
You
yoga,
tie your shoes standing up. That's strange.
yeah.
I
Like
leave mine tied.
leaning down, or like do you like hoist your leg up on like the laundry hamper?
Either one.
That's me.
Okay.
I just leave them tied.
Well, Butch, I know you can't. I don't even know how you.
I got my
take
own
it.
problems, man.
I mean, Ocho's only 4'9", so I mean, like he doesn't
Ocho's the
have to
most.
I'm 5'2".
Ocho's the most active person I know, but if you ask him to pick up a quarter on the ground that you drop,
not gonna happen.
It's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen to watch.
Johnny grabbed my golf ball out of the hole every time just for the sake of not wasting another 12 minutes.
Or you just wear Skechers. I do have Skechers without
It would have
laces.
put us behind pace. It would have put us behind pace for the round if I let him take his ball out of the cup.
They wouldn't even let me hole out. It was like, you know what? You're 10 feet away. Fine. You get it.
No, you're within 5 feet. You're good.
Yeah, just
That's
pick it
good.
up. Let's try something else.
Just move on. It's like, it's like waiting for people, like a family in miniature golf. Like you're just waiting, and they have like 3 kids that are just hitting the ball over the place. You're like, fuck, can we just play through, please? Anyway, you get that.
You should. That's etiquette.
It is.
I didn't hit up on them. You know what? That's when you hit up on them.
All right. I don't have an imbecile.
When they're out there.
we got anything else here? Oh, you know who's an imbecile? Dan Young. He's back on the list. He trolled Belmogen today. What a dick! Like, come on, man. Like, kick a guy when he's down because he lost to Tim Foy. Come on.
I don't think Belmo's down. Belmo literally is trolling Stan worse than Stan trolls Belmo.
I just don't hate the. I don't understand the hate. I really don't, Dan. I don't.
He's probably a dickhead. I know he's in the chat. But you're just probably a dickhead.
I
That's
understand
fair.
hate.
Fair.
I don't understand outspoken and unwarranted hate.
Like, unless they were like,
I hate a lot of things, dude. I really do.
I hate
would
pineapple
never,
on pizza.
ever call somebody out on them. I would just keep my mouth shut about it and like try and not be so petty about
Well,
it.
he is a troll, so I mean, there's that.
No, but like if you mispronounce something around me, I'm gonna hammer you regardless, or like my friends or something like that, or if you say the wrong word when you mean something else.
You're a grammar Nazi? I never would have guessed.
That's a normal thing.
I never would have guessed that.
He's just a dick.
I never would have guessed that you're a grammar Nazi.
It's not that.
Or
It's
your
just
grandma
like
was a Nazi.
Christ.
Cripes.
You just don't get it.
Oh, but yes, Chuck, we do have to mention that. Unfortunately, we lost a great bowler this week. A lot of people were commenting on Facebook and all that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, cheers and rest in peace, Mark Masabi, also known as Chemo Sabi. Actually, Martha hit me up and sent me a picture. She goes, "Do you know who this is?" And I said, "That looks like Mark Masabi. That is who we're talking about right now because I can't see the comment."
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I go, "That looks like Mark Masabi, but that looks the way Mark Masabi looked 25 years ago. So he must have aged amazingly if that's him today." And then she told me the news of his passing. I believe it was stomach cancer, and only diagnosed about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yep.
But Chemo and my dad were actually made a televised doubles tournament together in I believe the 2000 or 2001 at the Reno National Bowling Stadium, and won their first match and then lost their second match. Eventually, I believe Parker Bone III and Ron Morton went on to win that title. But Mark Masabi was always a true gentleman, great bowler, and really, really, really fun man to be around. It was very, very sad. Another person just gone way too soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a horrible, horrible way to go. Frank, thanks, buddy. Take care, buddy. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate you coming in all the way from Japan. But yeah, no, Bob Learn.
Wait, is he going off to the toilet or is he going?
Yeah,
off
no, he's
to
got to take the Browns to the Super Bowl. So,
all right,
yeah. But
who Frank is?
Yeah,
from Japan.
from Japan, yeah.
Where the toilet water goes the other way, I think, because they're on the other side of the world.
Is it the future in Japan right now? It's like tomorrow.
Yes,
it is.
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. He's broadcasting from the future. That's great.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
That's awesome.
We're talking to somebody tomorrow. That's great.
That is weird,
Actually, I guess we do that with Keegan in Australia also a lot.
No, that's fair. They're like 12 hours ahead. Yeah. They're literally on the other side of the world. But yeah. Anyways. We got anything else here?
No, next week is a kind of a toss-up, but I do want to like leave a little some breadcrumbs here. I want to talk about the usage of Easy Slide and non-marking rubber tennis shoes or sneakers when you're bowling, because a lot of good points were brought up last night at League about both of them, and I'm really curious what the actual rule book says. Like this is what I'm assuming lawyers get paid the big bucks for when it comes to like real life law shit. But I really want to like dive into this the way a lawyer would, to try and dissect it from every single angle to figure out what's legal and what's not legal.
I like that, actually. Yeah, that's cool. That's good.
Like it's an unspoken thing. You have to be a certain age to buy cigarettes or alcohol.
Right. Who would wear sneakers on a bowling alley?
It's also an unspoken agreement that like if you drink and you're above the limit and you're driving, doesn't matter how fucking old you are, you're going to jail or you're getting a DUI, right?
Yeah.
So why can't you? Or I mean, who wears regular sneakers? Well, I guess maybe on their foot, on their non.
Just to throw it out, to just put it in perspective, just to give you a quick glimpse. I don't want to keep you guys too long tonight, but. Bowlers like Jess Stayrook and Michael Haugen used to wear non-marking tennis shoes on PBA shows because it was legal in the PBA to wear non-marking rubber shoes.
So they weren't wearing bowling shoes?
No, Michael Haugen eventually went to just wearing like the rubber soles on both sides of the bowling shoe.
No
shit. In the early going, him and Jess Stayrook wore actual tennis shoes.
I was gonna say I used to use one sneaker on my left foot, and then my right sliding foot was.
I could see, I could see the non-slide foot being a regular sneaker, but
no,
still.
but the discussion was because two bowlers on my right were bowling on the same team and against a gentleman, and the two Charles is another one. What's up, buddy? I hope everything's good on the West Coast. And he brought up a good point. I'm like, the only guys I know, a lot of guys that wear sneakers. My old teammate, Mr. 900, Jimmy Schmitzer, wore Air Forces or Air Maxes every time he bowled. My roommate in college, Greg Thompson wore, and still to this day wears sneakers when he bowls. I have a lot of friends that still, my buddy Brandon Burwell, happy belated birthday, Brandon. He wears shoes, but they don't wear the same sneakers that they're wearing walking into the bowling alley. They change into another pair of bowling sneakers.
Me too. Yeah.
So like the argument here was, if it's legal in the PBA, is it officially legal to do in the USBC? And in the USBC, I completely agree that it should be legal as long as you're not walking in with the street shoes that you had on. God forbid it's raining, or God forbid you step in like an oil slick on somebody's car or something like that.
Right.
And you screw everybody else.
Yeah.
But the guy kind of brought up a point where I'm like, I think it's kind of a gray area similar to Easy Slide, because Easy Slide, it's like an unspoken rule that if you ever put Easy Slide on the bottom of your sole, you're like the guy that drives 10 below the speed limit in the left lane. You're just a fucking asshole, right? But you can also go into any pro shop and spend $3 or $4 and buy yourself a bag of Easy Slide.
Sure.
You can walk in and dump out baby powder, and everybody will look at you like you're an asshole, but you never ever lose your points because you're using it. It's like, it's the two of those things. Putting foreign substances on is a non-marking rubber sole a foreign substance in the bowling world compared to Easy Slide?
But wouldn't Easy Slide be left behind though for someone else to walk into, or is that not really?
Yeah, like if somebody's got Easy Slide like on the monitor, and like unlike a rosin bag or like a chamois, if it falls off, now it's like, oh shit, now this Easy Slide falls off. And now, gosh forbid, I walk over and forget about it. Now I step in it and I slip and I go down the fucking lane and I fall on my face. Am I allowed to appeal that league night because of the foreign substance on somebody's foot? Is it anywhere in the rule book? So
you know what? That's a good point. I have a rule to think about also. Last week in league, this literally just happened. John L. threw a strike in his first ball in the 10th, and I yelled, "There's another ball, you dummy. It's a 10th frame." And he threw his rosin bag, and it hit some guy who was drinking a beer. I don't know. And the beer exploded and went everywhere. So if somebody steps in that, what's the rule?
The rule
and
is
how did John L.
Be more careful when accidents happen and get it cleaned up.
So there's no rule.
No, there's no rule on idiocy or, ignorance.
And it was behind out in the the walking area. It wasn't up on the approach or anything. So
if he went up and grabbed the guy's beer and put it on the lane and then threw the rosin bag at
then
the
we got an issue.
Then there might be a problem.
You're playing beer pong with a rosin bag and a beer. Yes,
Here's how I feel about your beer, sir. Then there would be a problem.
That's good stuff. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about that next week because I think a lot of people are going to be involved in that as they already are right now. So I think that is a great topic, and I like doing stuff. We should do more stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it only came to my attention because I've never given a shit about anybody that wears sneakers on the approach. I don't give a shit at all. But I
wouldn't know if they're sneakers or not.
I've always been skeptical of people that use any kind of baby powder. Because the last thing in the world a cranker or a power player wants is an approach to be slippery.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, absolutely.
So
that's good stuff. Now, all right, we'll get into next week. I'll save my questions for next week. I don't want to spoil it. So, Ocho, what's your Twitter handle? At the Dr. Ocho. Johnny is at JPJR0.
Number 1 in your hearts, number 7 in your ass, and all that
at
stuff.
JPJR07.
And to answer that question, it's only 07 because that's the year I created it.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. That's
my baseball number was 7, and then I wore 31. But no.
7-minute abs.
Yeah. I need about
at Rad Rob Gaming.
6 minutes.
Follow us on X as well. You can follow the show at Straight Up 5 Podcast. You can send us an email. You know what? Hold on. Let me check our email address.
Check the emails. There's one from 2018.
Now there might be one. You never know.
Rob, I heard about your show. Can you give me some info about it? And I have a bowling ball.
You're an asshole. Straight Up 5.
Sorry, we're so late to reply.
Yeah, no. Just,
hey, Rob, how your auto reply that you're on vacation? Still wondering if you can reply to that email.
Oh, hang on. They received our payment. Our order is being processed, and we'll notify when it ships. Okay. We have a lot of junk mail. Apparently, that's cool. Yeah, nobody sent us any emails except from India.
Well, we don't exactly promote things too well.
At Straight Up 5 or Straight Up 5 Podcast at gmail.com. It's Straight Up 5, the number 5 at gmail.com. Send us an email.
And go to Apple iTunes and leave us a 5-star review because we deserve it.
Do they still do that? Is that still a thing?
I don't know. I just got an upgrade. I don't know where my damn pictures are.
That's fair. That's fair. No, if you do listen to the audio version, like if you just want to listen to us on the go or on what is Woogie? Anybody know the reference? Woogie.
Woogie is that's Cameron Diaz's brother in Something About Mary.
Something About Mary. That's 7-minute abs.
You got okay. This is a smart crowd. Let me tell you, this is a very smart crowd. You guys know a lot of shit. Anyway, all right, guys, we'll be back next week talking about Easy Slide and rosin bags and
Rob's bag.
Rob's.
Where his neck is.
I got nothing. One of these days, I swear to God, maybe I'll get a neck off of Temu.
One of these days, I'm gonna have a neck. I will. You
keep going, you'll find it.
Thanks, Johnny. I will. I'll find
You're welcome.
Points. And then we don't have to look anymore. We'll still be looking for EJ.
I'm hitting the outro.
Right.
Guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate your support. We will see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightup5podcast at gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.